Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture what we want to do is that we want to go ahead and retrieve the username which we have added newly over here. So as you could see, now we have added the username and we wish to retrieve it in the main activity as well. So in order to do that, let's switch to the main activities code, which is the XML code. So I'm going to go to resources, layout, and insta row is the one thing which we are looking for. So if you actually switch on the preview over here, you will be able to see this preview right here. And let's say here at the bottom you want to add the username as well. So here what you could do is that you could simply add another text view, and let's say that's going to be match parent and wrap content as well. And what we will do here is that for now let's type in some text, like let's say username, and let's also associate an ID with this. So what we will do here is that we will set in the ID for this username. So that's going to be, let's say, text username. So let's say ID is text username over here, and once this thing is done, we are good to go. So now what we wish to do is that we wish to retrieve the username of this thing as well. So in order to do that, the first and foremost thing which you need to do is that you need to make modifications to the getters and setters. So what you need to do is that you need to go to this insta class right here, and as you could see, now we have the title, description, and image over here. So here what you need to do is that you also need to add another parameter, and that's going to be username, and that's going to be user name. And once the username is added, you are good to go. So also add a username over here, so that's going to be string username, and this is going to be this dot username equals username, and there is also going to be a getters and setters for username as well. So I'm going to type in get username and set username. So once it is done, we are pretty much good to go. So now what you need to do is that you need to go to the recycler view code and set the view holder over there. So in main activity, if you scroll down a little bit, as you could see, this is the view holder which we are using, and in this particular view holder, what we wish to do is that we wish to go ahead and set the view holder for username as well. So here what we will do is that we will go ahead and add in a new method which is going to be called as the set username method. So we'll type in public void and that's going to be set username over here. Let's say name, let's type N in capitals, and what this is going to do is that it's going to accept a string which is going to be called as username. And in here what we do is that we first get a reference to the newly added text view. So if you actually go to the insta row over here, as you could see, the ID of the text view is text username. So what we do here is that we go back to the main activity and here get a reference to the text view. So that's going to be text view, let's say post username equals typecasted to text view, and here it's going to be item view dot find view by ID. That's going to be r dot id dot, and that's going to be text username. And once we have a reference to it, you simply need to go ahead and set this username to post username. So you type post username dot set text, and that's going to be username over here. And once this thing is done, you are good to go. Now the only thing which you need to do is that you need to make changes to this view holder right here. So that's going to be view holder dot, and that is going to be the set username method which we have just created. And here what you need to do is that you need to pass in model dot get username. So once this thing is done, you are pretty much good to go. Now we only need to save the code and run this application, and hopefully in the main activity this time we are going to have a post along with the username. So I'm going to run this application and see how it works. So as you could see, the application is up and running, and you're actually able to see the username along with the other post details. So there is the post title, the post description, and Don as the username at the bottom. So that's it for this lecture, and I hope you guys were able to understand how to retrieve username in the recycler view in the main activity. So that's it for this lecture, and in the next lecture what we will do is that we will add an on-click listener to the recycler view as well. So whenever you actually go ahead and click on the recycler view, it's going to open up a new activity with the details of that particular post. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.